public comment on legislative items appearing on this committee agenda. Each speaker is allowed up to 2 minutes to speak. Speakers may register in advance on the Metro Council public comment sign-up page on nashville.gov. We did not have anybody sign up in advance, so today we want to double check. That's correct? Okay. So we'll go ahead and move on into the rest of the agenda. So we have two resolutions, or we have a resolution on public hearing rather, RS 2023-2285. It exempts retrograde Clifton, located at 2714 Clifton Avenue, from the minimum distance requirements for obtaining a beer permit. We have a letter to approve from Councilmember Toombs. Could I get a motion?
So moved.
Second? All right, motion has been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Is this the same folks that operate the retrograde on Dickerson?
It is, Councilman. Curtis Harrington here on behalf of Retrograde. It is. Fortunately, they're planning to open several new locations.
Cool.
And they're going to activate beer and a minimum wine and maybe spirits too at a few of their kind of select locations. So
That sounds great.
yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Go ahead and take a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5 in favor, 0 against. Next, we have a bill on public hearing. It's BL 2023-1884. It codifies an updated version of BL 2019-78, providing that non-owner occupied short-term rental properties be located at a minimum distance from churches, schools, daycares, and parks, which ordinance was approved during a council session in which the section of the Metropolitan Code to be amended by that ordinance was simultaneously moved to another title in the code, rendering BL 2019-78 uncodifiable. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. We do have a letter from Councilmember Sledge asking us to approve this. Any discussion?
Yeah, I believe this is just a housekeeping thing, right? Just moving it to the title it ought to be in order for it to work, so.
That's right.
Yeah. We'll see. It's on public hearing, but we'll see.
Okay. All right.
I'm good. Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's just, as I understand, the same thing, just housekeeping, moving it, since we made that change earlier this year. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? 5 in favor, 0 against, it passes. On second reading, we have two bills on second reading. The first one is BL 2023-1994 by Councilmember Parker. This amends Metropolitan Code Section 16.08.012 to regulate mass timber construction with the standards set forth in the 2021 edition of the International Building Code and the 2021 edition of the International Fire Code. Could I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Parker, or would you like Mr. Dodd?
I'll go ahead and give a little brief explanation, and then if I miss anything, we've got Mr. Dodd here, thankfully. So this bill would enable more mass timber construction in Nashville. Mass timber is a new-ish kind of building. Other cities are kind of adopting it, embracing it in this way as well. What we're doing is basically, we're currently on the 2018 codes, and we're allowing folks that are doing mass timber projects to come in with their permit and say, you can use the 21 building code and 21 fire code, because those are a little bit more generous. They allow more to happen with the mass timber stuff. The 24 code is likely to be our next whole hog adoption of building codes. That's not quite ready yet, and that will have even more enabling of mass timber construction is what it looks to be shaping up to. But this is basically getting us caught up with the 2021 code and allowing more of these projects to go up. Mass timber has a lot of advantages that I won't get into here, but if you like watching YouTube videos, it's a very cool subject to YouTube about some of the environmental benefits, sustainability, and just aesthetics. Also kind of filling the gap. Y'all probably deal with this in your districts where, something might be zoned for 8 or 9 stories, but really what's practical is just podium and sticks on top, and you can only get to between 5 and 7 depending on how you do it there. So timber can allow some of that. It's not missing middle, it's pretty big stuff what we're talking about, but it can allow some of those entitlements to actually be utilized, whereas the current codes make it very difficult to in some cases. So there's a lot of advantages to this, and I want to thank Codes for, they met with me early on when I had this idea and really embraced it and worked with me to get this legislation drafted, so appreciate y'all. Anything else, any questions from Councilmember Young? I'm sorry, Chair.
Your infatuation with timber wouldn't have anything to do with your
you know, prolific use of chainsaws after storms. You just to put it.
I have been gluing up mass timber elements in my shed, and I'll be selling them on the market soon.
Oh, fun. If anybody doesn't know, please check out Councilmember Parker's YouTube YouTube probably, you should get on YouTube, but Twitter feed for all the good help that he does cleaning up disaster issues in his district and around the city. Councilmember Cash?
I just wanted to say I think this is excellent, and thanks for sponsoring it. I think it's a good improvement.
All right. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? That's 5 in favor, 0 against. Okay. Our final bill tonight is BL 2023-1996 by Roten and Benedict. This approves a contract between the Metropolitan Government and Mythics LLC for Oracle software licensing, training, support, and maintenance for the Department of Information Technology Services. Could I get a motion?
So moved.
Second? Anybody want a second?
Second.
Thank you. All right, it's been moved and seconded. I know there's been quite a bit of discussion, and there was discussion on this yesterday in the Budget and Finance Committee. That discussion was related to because the spend for this, the bill as written is for up to $70 million over a 10-year period. However, the contract as bid shows that the spend was going to be $45 million. So there was a question on that. So I think we want to ask ITS if you could help us with that.
Michelle and I both responded to council members Suara earlier today, but essentially in the contract abstract, because this was an RFP, in the bottom of the contract abstract, it brings forward the information from the RFP, and the total, the amount that she was referencing, the $45.3 million, I think it was what we used just in the cost evaluation of the RFP itself. So it just took a point in time. It took all the licenses that we own and the quantity of the licenses we own, and then it asked the vendors responding to put what the original Oracle list price was, what the percentage discount that they were going to apply, and then what if they had a fee, a reseller fee, to come across to, extended cost. And at that point in time, then it added that up to get to a 1-year total at that point in time, and then it just simply multiplied it times 10. But that was just, like I said, to get apples to apples, there only was one responder, so it it was kind of didn't have to evaluate the cost component with other vendors, but and that's not, it didn't take into consideration any future growth or, I had done evaluations of the last 15 years of cost to get to what I projected as the estimated, 10-year amount necessary. So that's what the difference was. So
Thank you for that.
she said at the end she was she was good with that. So
And thank you for that. And that certainly is outside of the budgetary side of that is outside of the scope of this committee, but I think it was important for anybody to follow up on, or anyone who was in Budget and Finance yesterday. So thank you for allowing me to.
Timber. Sorry, I couldn't.
All right. On the online versions, and we just had some sort of an accident in the break room, which is within earshot. It might or might not have been a tree, but if it was a tree, I'm pretty sure we can get that handled here with Councilmember Parker. What this software does, as I understand it, Oracle is software that we use throughout all of Metro government. I believe it touches every department, or most departments, if not all departments, and Mythics is the reseller of this, so that's why their name is on the contract. And so I noticed what a large dollar amount it was, and that was of concern to me because many items in our annual budget, is not this high. But this is something that we need for government to function. So, any discussion? Councilmember Parker.
Thank you. So, just hearing the budgetary impacts, I'm just curious, how much of if there's a short version for someone who doesn't know a ton about the inner workings of IT, how much of our, IT stuff is under this contract, Metro?
Well, our ERP system is Oracle, and that ERP system is also hosted by Oracle, which is falls under this.
Yeah.
And our LMS and
Can you,
recruiting
those
for-
acronyms, would you, for
Oh,
myself
sorry.
and the viewing audience, please? ERP and LMS.
Our enterprise-wide system that does AP, payroll, purchasing, HR benefits. That's the enterprise-wide system that all of our general government departments use, and schools is on it as well. And then LMS is learning management system, which is what we do our mandatory training through HR on that. Schools uses Oracle for Taleo, which is recruiting and onboarding. And our budget system, which we just implemented within the last 2 years, is on a cloud system from Oracle. And there's a couple more coming up that are projects that are in the works, like a travel, a new travel cloud system. So there's a lot, and all those flow through our ITS kind of enterprise-wide budget, and then we allocate it out through the rate model.
And that's what this contract is. It's kind of that enterprise-wide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, is this the contract that involves the Granicus voting machines that we use in the
No.
chamber?
No, that's Granicus. We actually did that was a separate contract with Granicus that we did 6 months ago, I think. We finalized that contract.
Okay.
So that's one, and there's a separate software that does, like Hub Nashville is a separate Salesforce and Caresoft, so that'll be coming to you soon. A new contract for them.
Thank you.
I was gonna ask that too.
Does Oracle offer something similar to what Granicus offers? Thank you. All right, any other dialogue, any other discussion?
Inside ball going on here.
A little bit. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries 5 in favor, 0 against. That concludes the business of the Government Operations Committee. We are adjourned.
Timber!